Hey, sixth grade, how's it going? I am back and we are starting the second half of our animal unit, which is vertebrates. So all the animals that we've been talking about before are invertebrates. Remember, those are the ones that do not have backbones. They have soft bodies. That one was especially for you, Imani. And we're done with them, right? We talked about all kinds of animals. We talked about worms and jellyfish and you guys, I can't even remember, sponges and cnidarians and arachnids, right? We did those. Yeah. Insects, all kinds of things. And now we're moving on to animals with backbones, which these guys are called vertebrates, okay? So a couple things before I begin, our notes for the day. So we're gonna be doing these few sections. So there's five different types of vertebrates, a little bit different than we did other animals or invertebrates, in that you're gonna have two basically like groups a week, and each time you're gonna have notes from me that you need to treat just like we were in class. So write the notes whenever you hear the funny sound. And then the other half of it is that I'm gonna give you guys a video to watch, and then you have to, you're gonna be answering some questions that I'm gonna give you about that video. So we're gonna do like generalized information about that group or classification of animals, and then we're gonna be focusing on one section of those animals. So the mammals one, for example, we're gonna be watching a video about how they reproduce, because they reproduce 3 different ways. And it's actually really interesting, and we're gonna have to be adults because there's, some anatomy words there that we're just gonna have to be adults about, because animals are people too. And yes, I said that. And then, so each classification will have its own little video. So you're gonna be doing 2 classifications a week, 2 videos, 2 sets of questions, 2 sets of notes. Some of these have a lot of notes, like the mammals have a lot of notes, the birds have a lot of notes, but it's fine. You're totally fine. It's fine. Say it with me. I'm fine. We're fine. Okay. Oh, another thing, very important, is that some of these videos explain things that have to do with evolution. Now, remember, we kind of talked a little bit about this in class, but there are 2 different ways that people understand and believe that certain things just happened, right, on this planet. One is that things evolved from one main source, and then they just grew and became a certain way because they had needed to adapt to an environment, or to like their food that they eat, or they needed to adapt because a different animal was going to eat them. And so they evolved different characteristics and traits based on the needs of the species to survive. Now, that is not really what we believe as Christians, but there is a lot of information out there that has evolution as a foundation. We don't believe that. We believe that God created all things as they are, and they've always been this way. And that's how God created them to be. And that was the purpose that he had for those animals to be the way that they are, for a reason, whether that be for survival or whatever. We don't know. We're not God. We didn't do any of it. It is our job to understand and learn it, not to figure out how it came to be, because honestly, we ain't got time for that. Okay. So that's not the reason why. I'm just trying to be funny. But the Bible tells us that God created animals and fish and land animals and sea animals and animals that fly. And so that involves all the things that we're learning. And in our belief system, we believe that he created the elephant just as the elephant that we see now. That like the elephant that we see now has always looked that way, and it hasn't just all of a sudden evolved to look that way because of a need that it had to survive however many years ago. So we're going to talk a lot about evolution and creationism and all those theories next year in 7th grade. But for now, we're just going to focus on these videos. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of like, I'm sitting right there with you kind of thing, so that you don't think that like Mrs. Keys is going crazy because quarantine and giving you evolution foundational videos. I'm not. But there is cool information besides all the evolution stuff that is actually very interesting. And today I had a moment where I was like, what? Kangaroos have what? Like, it was really cool. So that's my PSA. Let's dive into this. Okay, so today we're going to do a little intro on vertebrates. My notes are done. And so again, vertebrates are animals with backbones. Ding. It's not a dinging sound. It's like a popping sound, but it's still like right now, okay? Vertebrates. So vertebrates are animals that have a backbone or a spinal column. These animals include fish, birds, mammals, amphibians, and reptiles. These are our 5 groups of animals that we're gonna be talking about. Fish, birds, mammals, amphibians, and reptiles. All these animals have a backbone. That is why they are in this group, okay? There are currently around 65,000, 65000, okay, known species of vertebrate animals. This sounds like a lot, but vertebrates are only around 3% of all the animals on Earth. So most of the animal species are invertebrates. So there's a lot more that we learned about last time than there are now, but these guys are kind of the ones that we see the most, okay? Vertebrates tend to be much more intelligent and have complex bodies. Complex bodies, I can say that. Have more complex bodies than invertebrates, okay? They can be found just about everywhere. They can be found in oceans, rivers, forests, mountains, and deserts. Vertebrates have the following classification. There are 5 main groups, and again, these are all animals with backbones. So this is the main picture, and I feel like you have this whole entire thing, but this is the main thing that I want you to put in your notebook. Okay, so it's got this kind of like, ooh, this is a nice little shot of me in the paper. Okay, so you have all 5 of your classifications. You have mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish. And then these are just like little x-rays that show the backbone, okay? So in this case, for example, these are the vertebrae here. These are ribs. This is probably human or some kind of animal that has like a hip bone and ribs. I don't think this is a human, actually, because we have more ribs than that. And then this is an x-ray of a frog. Again, you can see that it has this slight little backbone here, and this is going to fall into our amphibians category that we're going to talk about soon. So, very important, all these little notes. You may or may not have this picture as well. If you do, please add it to your notes. If you don't, I'm crazy and don't listen to me. And I think that's it, okay? So, we are going to start with mammals. Yes, we're gonna start with mammals tomorrow. And you guys have a lot of notes for mammals. There's a lot happening here. We're gonna be using the notes that are in my resources and a couple things that are in your book as well, but mostly the notes that are in the resources because there's a lot, and I don't wanna overwhelm you. And then at the end of each week, you'll have a little quiz that has 4 questions about the first group that you learned and then 4 questions about the second group that you learned. They'll be quick quizzes, but I do need to assess you. You can use your notes, obviously, you have them in front of you. And these will be in either Google Quiz or Google Form. Yeah, okay? So remember, look for the videos, always write your notes, add your pictures, and you'll have questions to answer about the videos, okay? Bye guys, see you later.